right, let's get things started. Mr. Ego Akaria, as I introduced him, member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Mr. Akaria, good morning and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, Geoffrey, Bukola, and Kelly. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
Yeah, Mr. Akaria, it appears that there are two, in Nigerian things move on quickly, just like Kelly had mentioned. There are two issues that have refused to stubbornly move on, and that is the kidnapping of the Oridre children, which our eyes are still on, and then this issue of whether it's a phantom ministry or phantom agency or fictitious, as the federal government chooses to describe it. But let's go to, let me spoil for choice a lot of the papers now. Let's go to, let me start with this Nigeria. Fake agency saga. Tinubu orders ICPC probe of Adeyemi orders to submit full report in 30 days. And just above it, Nigeria's oil output rises to 1.8 million barrels per day. Energy quick coupons and all of that. So, your comment on both stories, sir?
Well, yeah, it's a sad time for our country. You have rightly said in the studio that this is embarrassing to the country. Indeed, it is. The Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, I understand that agency existed under the former President Muhammadu Buhari, and now it suddenly resurfaced. It was not formally closed down during handover to the current administration. So how did, who dug this up? How did, in fact, there are just too many questions, too many questions. Adeyemi, who priced himself as a prince, now there has been so much effort to discredit him. His family members have been arrested. My worry this morning is that beyond sweeping this under the carpet, nothing must happen to him because he is the principal suspect here. Nigerians are interested in hearing from him. I also think that the security agencies should parade him before the media so that we can hear from him. I do not think that, yes, he has been described as a con man, as a con artist, all kinds of names have been bandied, about him. But I think that there is so much that meets the eye. The accomplices, the corporates involved in this matter that has brought Nigeria to this very low level, to this global shame, global ignominy, must be identified and seriously dealt with, because I see this as a treasonable act for people to use the name of the president, give appointment letters and all of that. We must get to the bottom of this. It is not enough to say he forged the documents. He has said that, he allegedly paid 400 million naira to the chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila. All of this must be investigated. People in the National Assembly, the Red Chamber cannot absolve itself. The Red Chamber approved 1.3 billion naira. Somebody gave him a code, the CBN, they gave him a code, a budget code. There's just too many. I don't think this man can go the whole hog, forging all of these things, and because these are genuine procedures to access public funds. And so how did he access the code? How did he open an account? All these questions have been asked. They are in the public domain. So for me, this man, I do not think is the con artist that is being made to believe. I think there are serious, highly placed, privileged people in government that are accomplices to this gentleman called Adeyemi. Now, I also think this morning, basically, if government wants to be serious, 30 persons should have, on their own, even stepped aside. If they are not willing to step aside, the president must wield the big stick. Even if it's your son, it's your brother, or anybody that the person is, that is named in this, by this gentleman, that person must be suspended from office for a fair, impartial, and objective investigation to take place. You can't sit in the office, manipulate the investigation process, and then expect that an outcome that will be acceptable to people, we come out. So, see, we are getting too much in this country. I also read a report this morning, the National Commission on Amajiri and that of school children. Road projects were built into the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar raised the issue. Too many scandals, too many issues that are embarrassing the country, corruption cases. So the EFCC and ICPC have their work well cut out. They don't need the directive of the president. The president cannot be ordering the service chiefs to deal with Boko Haram and terrorists, and then ordering the Anti-Graft Commission to investigate crime, corruption-related cases, and even compromise within the presidency itself. We are getting too much in our hands, and this simply shows that there's something fundamentally and structurally wrong, you know, with the current administration. It started from the Buhari administration, where people were using the name of Buhari to appoint people. I even heard in one of these reports that at a point that the former president Buhari was watching TV, he saw somebody that was appointed, and it was alluded that he was the one that signed the appointment, and that the president was surprised. But nothing got done, and that is what has embodied individuals to carry on, even in the current administration, to do what they are doing. Right. Something just has to be done, because these are the issues that will determine next year's election. We cannot continue like this as a country and go out borrowing when monies are being frittered away and stolen by people, you know, with collaborators in government. This is really, really sad for the nation this morning.
Mr. Kariga, let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper this morning. It leads with something different. Insecurity, halt rehabs, try Boko Haram members, Senate tells FG. Halts rehabs, try Boko Haram members, Senate tells FG. That's what the Guardian, or the Vanguard rather, is leading with this morning. I mean, I've always kicked against this whole idea of reintegration of Boko Haram insurgents back into the society. I'm not, the military will say it's the non-kinetic approach. I'm not sure how far so well with this approach.
Yes, I commend Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua. He was the one who moved the motion on the floor of the Senate yesterday. That was a very bold move. Indeed, most Nigerians, whether in the social media or in mainstream media, we have been complaining, Nigerians have been complaining, how do you rehabilitate and reintegrate people who are vowed ideologically, because this is a religious ideology, whether we like it or not, who have vowed that Nigeria is going to be the hub of terrorism, going to be the hub of their own version of radical Islam, you know, and they've been killing, maiming, killing generals, you know, killing civilians, killing farmers, killing children, killing women, and then we bring them in so close uniform for them, pay them allowances, feed them, give them milk and meat to eat, when Nigerians have no food to eat. And this policy, which is very obnoxious, very condemnable, a wicked policy as far as I'm concerned, that encourages, you know, compromises the security of this country, was introduced by the former administration of General Muhammadu Buhari, who I think, in my view, you know, feels that killing these bandits and these terrorists will amount to reducing the population of maybe the young people who are involved in this from the northern part of this country. The North is, there are so many millions of Northerners who are very angry with what is happening in their region. But we have a few individuals who are encouraging this. So this cannot be a government policy. Even as we speak, the very ideological foundation and structural problem is the Amajiri system of education in the North, where you have a child, you send the child to a Malam, rather than send the child to a conventional school. And we have northern governors who have adopted the Sharia system of government in contravention of the Constitution. We have one country, two constitutions. So we have about 20 million children out of school as we speak this morning, and this is a ready army to be recruited into terrorism. So as long as we keep this system in place in the North, where children are encouraged not to go to school, hold a plate in their hands and move around, harassing people for food and support, then we are going to have, for so long as we keep this policy, so long are we going to deal with terrorism, because this is a ready army that will be recruited. So are we going to keep sustaining this position and then telling the army to kill everyone? It means they are almost going to kill everybody in the North, particularly the young people who, you know, have been embedded into this kind of, they call it traditional and cultural training, which is very, very, you know, revulsive as far as I'm concerned this morning. So I commend Senator Yaradua. That is the way to go. We can't pay them more money. We can't rehabilitate them. Enough is enough. If indeed we are serious about dealing with this issue of insecurity, kidnapping, banditry, and terrorism in our country.
And some would say it's a good thing that that particular call and agitation is coming from, you know, a senator of northern extraction. But the more important question is, how angry is the rest of the North about the damage and how insecurity and banditry is ravaging that region of the country and making it look like a shadow of itself from what it was in the 60s. But let's head to a New Telegraph newspaper, which also covers something that came through from the National Assembly yesterday, the Senate to be precise. Xenophobia. Senate demands probe into attacks on Nigerians in South Africa. Wants protection for citizens in Rainbow Nation. Declines calls for FG to take over MTN, DSTV. Ghana defers Ramaphosa's visit over anti-migrant attacks. And some would say, Mr. Keria, the response of the Ghanaian president is the way to go, because there's no let-up in this continuing disrespect and disregard for Nigeria coming from South Africa. Of course, this comes on the heels of recent comments ascribed to a South African minister. I wonder if you caught all of that and how you're weighing in on it.
I think basically we have to fix our country. You know, the insult from the South Africans, the embarrassment is getting too much. Nigeria is, whether we like it or not, it is our country. It's the biggest black nation on earth, the richest country, you know, in Africa in terms of resources and, you know, both human and natural resources. Nigerians have no business going to African countries to slave it out. And so the South Africans are rubbing it in our faces and telling us that we should go to hell. Ghana is a smaller country compared to Nigeria, but if you look at the forceful official policy of the Ghana administration, you know, to confront the South Africans in this so-called bad behavior and impunity that they have enjoyed in attacking other Africans over the years, it is time to call their bluff. It is also time, you know, in international relations and international politics, there's reciprocal gesture. If a country treats you in a particular manner, the country that is on the receiving end has a right under international law to reciprocate. So I do not know why Nigeria, every time, you know, we appear to be tolerating the South Africans after everything that Nigerians, the Nigerian government over the years have done, you know, to support stability in South Africa, whether during apartheid, whether in also supporting them educationally, morally, and militarily, you know, to confront apartheid. When the minority Boer whites were oppressing, you know, were ruling that country. Nigeria paid so much in millions of dollars to support them and even granted scholarship to many South Africans. Thabo Mbeki was here, Nelson Mandela was here. Nigeria offers so many support, including other African countries. But well, there's no need to cry over spit milk. They are not willing to recognize that Africans supported them. So now that they are treating fellow Africans the way they are, I think it is time to actually deal with the South Africans in the measure that you know, they are dealing with other nations in Africa. Nigeria must lead the way. Nigeria must take very firm measure, very firm action against the South Africans, you know, to put them in order and to call their bluff. It's very important. And we need decisive leadership in this country to do that.
Mr. Keria, well said. Everything has to do with how government responds to all of this. What government is not doing is to repatriate our people, the ones that are willing to come back, and let's see whether their properties, what can be done in terms of compensation. So all of these rhetorics, people just want to get by and just do the best they can for themselves and their families. Igor Keria is a member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. He joined us from our Abuja studios. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's the Energy Week, and let's talk about energy in terms of electricity, but Bukola has that one.
Yes, indeed, it is estimated. Okay, but before we get right into that conversation, we'll take a moment and then we'll be right back. Stay with us.